Hi, Sharon Danley here with another 2-minute tips. This week it's about a mashup for brow guidelines for the vintage Femme Fatale. Along with some pieces that I've put in from other videos, I have a couple of new ideas that I think you're going to like. We'll see you at the end. What I do is I create guidelines for myself and I use this is a Print by MAC dupe eyeshadow and a flat angled brush. Okay, what I do is draw a line at the top that goes straight across, rounds the arch and down. That's in the same line as the top line on the other brow. Then I add the guideline for the bottom of that brow, and I don't go up and around like the brow wants to do. I take it straight across and then bring it around to match the end of that arch. Then I check, before I fill in, I check to make sure that the guidelines, both top and bottom, are in line with and looking the same as, or close to, the same as the brow on the left. I do that before I fill in. And then I fill in and I check again to make sure it's close. And then once I do that, I take away any excess that may be there and just kind of, futz till I get it right. And then I take that flat angled brush and I turn it on its side and I go across and create hair-like strokes. And then I end up with this, which balances out. And when you take a look at where I started from and where I finished, it's substantially different. Now, does this take time? It takes time to learn it for yourself and for your own brow shaping. But once you know where your guidelines go, and I still use guidelines for myself, absolutely, it's just faster and easier. Once you do it and you're doing it every day, it becomes very easy to do, and you can do your brows in 2 minutes or less. And you can see here, and again in this example, the eyes become the focal point, not the brows. And here we are with a real-time demo. I'm creating the guidelines as was explained in the earlier segment. Notice how thin and sparse that brow is. So it really helps to have guidelines because it makes the job so much faster. And oops, I got a little bit too much there, but that's okay because it's powder. I can move it out of the way fairly easily. So I check and then I go to the other side and I try to, make sure that the line is even with the line on the other side. And going around, extending that arch a little bit, and then I check to make sure that the top lines match. Now I'm going in for the bottom line. And you may notice, those of you with a keen eye, that I went just a little bit too high with that one and it needed to be a little thicker. And in checking, you can see it here. So this is where anything that has a straight line, you can use it to measure to see if they're in line with each other or not. And I could tell here that it wasn't. So then all I had to do was just add a little bit more to that brow just to even it up. So then I'm going to check to make sure that the front end of the brows are in the same line as with the other brow on the other side. Then I'm going to just fill in all of that space. Now for those that have thick brows, you just need to fill in the bare skin, but mine are so light and fair, they need covering. And I just take a really quick approach. It's like coloring in as you did when you were a kid. And just color, 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 fill them both in. And what I like to do too is to use the brush to pull down the line from the top and push up the line from the bottom to soften those lines. You can see me doing it right there. It just takes away from the harshness of the lines. And then once I've got everything filled in the way I like it, then I use the point of the brush to do any fine detailing that I need to do that I may have missed. So I do that on both sides. Take a look, and if I'm happy with the placement, etc., and the lines are even at the top and the bottom, then the next step is to add the hair-like strokes. But first I'm going to check the inside corners. Okay, and then I use the flat part of the brush and just stamp it. So I stamp in the hair-like strokes to make it look more natural. And do the same on the other side, and voila! And here's an insert for the credit card method. Note the stars my eyes. You'd simply take your credit card, put it on whatever angle you want, dip your brush into your eyeshadow, and use the credit card as a ruler to make a line. It's as simple as that. Then we're going to do another one on the bottom here, again in whatever angle you want, and it avoids that too rounded look that often can happen. Draw your line, pull it away, and you are ready to fill in as usual. Now here's the second approach to going around the arch of the eye using the print dupe eyeshadow and a flat-edged angled brush. Dip a couple of times and apply as in the other example, going straight across and then rounding where needed. Now this is a new way of measuring the eye for the mature femme fatale. Rather than from the nose to the corner of the eye, you should do it from the end of the lip to the eye because the end needs to be a little bit shorter. Okay, so here we are adding the second line, and this time we're going straight into that top line. Notice how it's just very straight. This will help with the curve that we're going to put in. Okay, so now we go back in and we pick the point that we want and then draw a line down to the bottom. So you have almost like a triangle there. Again, let's see, we go start where the guideline is, wherever we want, depending on how thick we want it. And then we just draw it in to meet up with the bottom end of the top guideline. And that will give an easier way to go around the arch while still maintaining that straight line and not curving up too much too soon. Then it's just filled in as normal. Again, pushing the top guidelines down and the bottom guidelines up to erase them. And then if you want to, you can make it a little bit thicker at the end or thicken your brow by just adding a little bit more. So, the question to ask yourself is, do your brows frame your face so that they either enhance or detract? What are yours doing for you? So that's it. Brow guidelines for the mature femme fatale. I hope that they help you. I think that they will. In fact, they work for me really well, and I do them every day. With practice and patience, it'll be fast, easy, and oh so chic. We'll see you next time.